Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. Well, today's the big day. Today's the day Kamala Harris officially accepts the nomination to be the Democrat candidate for president. Yeah. Personally, I wish the DNC would keep the party going. Why finish it up tonight? I'd love to see it go for another couple of weeks. It's got to be the greatest campaign commercial for Donald Trump that's ever been done. I mean, you couldn't pay an advertising agency to make this. I'll give you how effective the 3 days so far of the DNC has been. On Monday, going into the convention on the betting markets, okay, which is pretty much, I'd say, more accurate than these polls that oversample Democrats, or, we interviewed 622 people. We're a country of 350 million, okay? And, this is what we show. At least with the betting markets, people have some skin in the game. They're putting their own money down on who they think is going to win. Well, on Monday, going into the convention, Kamala Harris was leading on Polymarket, 51-46. Okay? That's all right. She was up 5 points. As of yesterday, last night, the last time the numbers came out, Donald Trump now leads 53-46. There's been a 12-point swing in the betting markets in 3 days. Kamala Harris had her honeymoon for the first month while she was coronated to be the nominee, but they sure as hell ain't making a good case at the DNC. It's been 3 days of cringe, 3 days of lies. Now, I want you to think about this. Pretty much everything they've talked about in the last 3 days tells you exactly who they are. They have no policies. They've talked about nothing other than stealing Trump's idea for the child tax credit, stealing Trump's idea for the no tax on tips, and the one original idea that the DNC has put forward has been to tax capital gains, to tax unrealized capital gains, and to increase taxes. Now, I will keep making the same statement I've made over and over and over again. How is it when a grocery store has a 2% profit margin, that's gouging, but when the government takes 30% of your paycheck, that's not, okay? All these stories on corporate greed, okay? And I've told you this before, and you can go look this up, okay? But we've talked about CPI, Consumer Price Index, and PPI, Producer Price Index, over and over and over again, okay? And corporate greed must be so good because when Biden took office, the difference between PPI and CPI compared to the difference between PPI and CPI now means the companies are making 10% less profit than they were under Donald Trump. Well, what does that mean? Well, if the companies aren't making enough money, they have to cut back somewhere. And what have we seen over and over and over again for the last 3 years? We've seen layoffs. Culminated by earlier this week, the Labor Department coming out, to Bureau of Labor Statistics, coming out and revising downward the amount of jobs that were created by 818,000 people, nearly 1 million people. They overcounted how many new jobs were created. Gee, Democrats overcounting something? Where have we ever heard that before? So the lies are all coming to the forefront. And the most hilarious part yesterday was when the Biden Secretary of Commerce said she wasn't familiar with what the Bureau of Labor Statistics was. That was just insane. I mean, that tells you how unqualified these people are. But again, let's talk about how unqualified Joe Biden was, how unqualified Kamala Harris is, how unqualified Tim Walz is, or everybody else in this administration, or everybody else in the Democrat Party. I mean, come on, seriously, tell me AOC is a qualified congresswoman. We elected a freaking bartender, okay? No offense to bartenders, that's how I put myself through college. But it wasn't what I decided was going to be my footsteps into a political career, okay? You know, you need people that might have a little bit of experience in the private sector, in management. I don't know, that would be a good skill. Business ownership, there would be a good skill. You know, how to deal with people, okay? You know, all sorts of good stuff there. But so we got the lies on that. But then yesterday, it just got better. After all the debunking that has come out, that even, I don't know, CNN, the New York Times, PBS, Vox, The Atlantic, any of these uber left-wing outlets have come up and said, this is a lie, this never happened. We got to hear them all again yesterday. The very fine people line came out in the convention yesterday. Nobody fact-checked it. We got to hear the inject them with bleach. Nobody fact-checked it. We got to hear and see a montage, an introduction of Tim Walz as a command sergeant major, which has been debunked over and over and over again. The misinformed people out there who will vote for a corpse over Donald Trump are the downfall to this country, and they are the ones that we have to be terrified of. Because as communist as Kamala Harris is, the only way her ideas have any momentum is if people believe them, right? That people have to think that this is actually a good thing. You know, you see all the man on the street interviews. Oh, who are you voting for? Kamala Harris. Hey, tell me what your favorite accomplishment she has over the last 4 years is. And crickets over and over and over again. But then you see other ones, it's like, oh, Donald Trump sucks ass. Why? Well, he's just mean. He doesn't believe in the rights of gay people until you talk to the gay community, and they're like, life was better under Donald Trump than it was under Joe Biden. The trans community may say something different, but the gay community can't stand the trans community. Just giving you a point there. You need to separate the two of them out, okay? It's really interesting to see how the push is. Even on the liberal elite network, CNN, they came out yesterday. This was funny. I'll show you this real quick. This was Dana Bash. Okay, remember Dana Bash? Dana Bash was one of the moderators at the debate where Joe Biden's political career ended. And Dana Bash came out and said that the men in the Democrat Party are effeminate, that there are no real men in the DNC. Watch this.
But they are doing so in trying to put forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to listen to Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out at the RNC, or might want to listen to that, but also, in addition, understand that it's okay in 2024 to be a man comfortable in his own skin who supports a woman. And that's something that they really are trying to work on.
Gotta love it. When one of your biggest supporting mouthpieces is out there saying the vice presidential candidate seems to be a little light in the loafers, you know we have an issue. But it also tells you, talk about an insult to real men. And for the ladies out there, women, I'm taking a guess most of you kind of like having a real man around the house, one that can actually do things, fix things. I don't know, maybe can carry the groceries in the house, has the physical strength to do it, right? Just little simple stuff like that. I'm betting the ladies like a real man too, which kind of makes it interesting when you hear all the stories of Kamala Harris leads with the women and women need to vote for her because she's a woman. I know a lot of women. Know a lot of men too, okay? But I know a lot of women. And none of the women I've ever met are, probably because they're not the type of people I'd hang out with, are the ones who are the crazy cat ladies who think, I don't need a man in my life. I can do everything. Okay, Butch. I've also never met a man in my life who said, I don't need a woman in my life. I can do everything. Okay. There's a reason that conservatives believe in things like, the traditional marriage, the traditional household, because that's what works. We don't need all the government handouts and everything that the Democrats promise. We know how to earn a living. We know how to cook a meal, male or female here. I'm just lumping everybody together, okay? We know how to do our own laundry. We know how to clean a house. We know how to change the oil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? Some people have some greater skills. But to listen to this yesterday, to listen to the lies, to listen to the Democrats denigrate and insult the American public, it goes back to what Barack Obama said before he was elected the first time. In a speech, he had said, if you remember this is going back a while, that the people of this country aren't smart enough to make decisions about their lives. They need government to do it for them. He believes that. There were a bunch of people at the DNC who believe that too. When this gets crazy in a couple of months, when hopefully Kamala Harris is asking, would you like fries with that for her next job, you're going to see a whole bunch of pissed off people who are going to burn, loot, and murder. And you're going to see this time, I think, a whole lot of Kyle Rittenhouses who are going to be sitting on the porch going, you ain't coming near my house. You ain't coming near my business. You ain't coming near my police station, my city hall. We're stopping you this time. And that's what's going to need to happen. It's going to get ugly. And self-defense is going to be something that everybody needs to polish up on. I'm not talking about martial arts or something like that. I'm talking about what the laws are in regards to self-defense. It's worthwhile for you to go look them up in your city, in your state, and what's considered self-defense. I mean, again, we can talk about stand your ground laws or castle doctrine or anything. They're different in every state, so it's not like I can give you some blanket, this is what you need to do. You need to know those laws. So when some deranged lunatic with their beanie on comes up with their signs and wants to burn an American flag in your front yard, you need to know what you can do legally and what you can't. I know there's so many people out there who just want all hell to break loose and us to be into anarchy. It's the last thing we need. What you need to do is know how you can be within the law and protect you and yours. Look that up, pay attention to it. Hopefully more and more people continue to wake up and see lie after lie after lie after lie coming out of the Democrats' mouths. Hopefully they look at the teeny tiny few policy ideas that Kamala Harris has, because of course we're now a month into her campaign and she still hasn't posted a platform and she still hasn't done an interview and she still hasn't done a press conference. Okay. Because when she opens her mouth, her poll numbers tank. You know, it's like she goes out and talks to people and they vote for Trump. Okay. So, like I said, I'd love to see the DNC go on for a couple more weeks. That way, maybe with a little luck, we can get her down to 0 and get our country back and be the United States once again. Pinball out.